What's up, Blockheads? Welcome to Blocks of Fury, and today I have an overview for you on Albion Online, a new MMORPG. Now, this game can be summed up best as a sort of hybrid between EVE Online and old-school RuneScape, both of which are awesome games and very interesting in their own right. So let's dive right into it, the nitty-gritty of Albion Online. Alright, so the first thing you're going to notice when you join this game is that it is an extremely grindy game. So unlike most MMORPGs, it is not what you call a theme park MMO, where you have quests, like, hey, go out and kill 6 or 7 rats, and then return to me and get some whatever, some gold, an item, whatever. No, this thing works entirely off of the skill tree that you see on the screen right now. So this skill tree dictates exactly what you can and cannot do in the game. So for instance, let's say you want to be able to use a high tier weapon. You're going to have to go to the low tier zones, kill low tier mobs, and eventually after you've killed a lot of them, like several hundred of them, you'll be able to use the next tier of that specific weapon. Then you'll have to do the same thing for a slightly higher tier mob, and again and again and again, until you eventually reach the weapon that you want to use. Now this applies to literally everything in the game. Whether it be armor, you have to go out and you have to kill things while wearing the right armor. Whether it be crafting, you have to craft like 100 items of the same type before you can craft the next little item. Whether it be even harvesting, you have to harvest 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 trees before you can harvest the next level. This is how the entire game fundamentally works. You are able to do things better by doing them more. So this can be a bit daunting for a lot of people. For instance, I have put in about 30 hours and I'm just now becoming somewhat relevant. It is a lot of work, and I would say in order to be relevant you have to put in at least 2 to 3 hours, and that's like per day, and that's making you even a casual player. A hardcore player, one of the more competitive ones, would be putting in somewhere near 8 to 10 hours a day. So if you don't have that amount of time, unfortunately this is not the game for you. I personally thought it might not be for me because I'm not really a hardcore gamer. I don't like grinding that much, but somehow it just worked out. I don't know if it's the formula or if it's the freshness of the game, but I really enjoyed it. So for that reason, it's in closed beta right now. You have to pay your way into it. So if you're not sure about the game, I would wait until the closed beta is over and the actual release happens, because then it'll be free to play and you can just give it a try without having to worry about actually plopping down the money for it right now. So anyway, with that said, this is actually all a lot easier and a lot more fun with a guild. So you really can't play this game solo to its full extent. But in order to talk about the social aspect, we first have to delve into how the world is fundamentally built, how it's structured. So Albion Online is an isometric game, top-down, as you can see. And the whole world, as you can see on this map, is structured into these sort of these diamonds, and each diamond is categorized into 4 specific types of zones, and those are green, yellow, red, and black. So we'll go over the different characteristics of those zones now. So you start with green. Green is where you're going to have your most basic, your easiest things to do. In these zones, you're going to find the low-level mobs, you're going to find low-level resources, and you're going to find the cities, the official cities, if you want to say. In these zones, there's no PvP allowed. You simply cannot attack other players, so everybody is to some degree safe. Obviously you're not safe from the mobs that you're killing. If you try to go for 2 high-level mobs, you will die, but you are for the most part safe. But when you do die from these mobs, or, I mean, yeah, mobs are the only way you can die. So when you do die from these mobs, the only thing that happens is that you lose some durability, and if you have stacks of what they call mats, materials, on you, then you're going to lose some of those. So if you've been chopping down trees for an hour and you have like 200 trees in your inventory and you die, you're probably going to lose about 1/3 of those. So then you wake up in about 35 seconds and you go along your merry way. You wake up with very little health, and then you eventually restore that health and you either continue your grind or you move on. But anyway, green zones, not very risky, pretty easy, pretty good experience for a beginner player. Next we have yellow zones. Yellow zones are what you can think of as the next step up from green zones. It's where you go when you're slightly higher level. This is when you're first introduced to PvP. So PvP combat is a little bit different in yellow zones than you would expect. So there's a flagging system, which you have to understand in order to understand the fundamental theory behind yellow and red zones. When you enter one of these zones, you can flag up, is what they call it. And flagging is a action which puts you into a PvP mode. This PvP mode is signified by your name to everybody as a little shield with two swords on it. So once you have flagged up, quote unquote, in these zones, you are allowed to attack other people. And other people, regardless of whether or not they're flagged, can attack you. So what you're doing is you're taking a risk. You're saying, everybody can attack me, I can attack everyone, and that's it. When you're not flagged, you can only attack people that are flagged. So it's sort of a one-way relationship, but also both ways. It's not really worth it, though, in yellow zones to ever flag up, because when you kill someone, only what happens in green zones happens. And what that is they lose some durability and they drop a little bit of silver. Same thing as green zones. The silver they drop is equivalent to the durability lost on their items, which is usually like 100 silver. It's not very much. It's not worth your time killing them, quite frankly, and there's just no point. But what you will see is some players enjoy killing other players, or they want a little bit of silver or whatever, and they will go in huge groups, maybe 10, even 20 players, and just wander around these yellow zones, which I forgot to mention, yellow zones of higher tier resources, as would follow logically. So people will go into these areas to farm the resources, and these huge groups, like 10 or 20 players, will just come along and instantly kill them. They're dead. So that's called zerging. But they recently implemented a system to combat this, which is that when you're in a group in the map of more than 10 people, actually more than 7 people, you turn into a clump of red dots that everyone in the map can see, so you know if a huge group is coming at you or not. Now this same system applies to red zones. It's the exact same thing where you have PvP, but you have when you die, when someone kills you, you drop all of your gear, everything, and then you have to respawn in the nearest city or guild territory. I'll get into guild territories later. So there's a lot more incentive for people to kill you here, so people they'll more likely wander around in red zones to try to kill people than yellow zones, because yellow zones, their only incentive is a little bit of silver, but in red zones their incentive can be, top level gear, because the people farming in the red zones, which have even higher level loot and higher level materials to farm, they're going to have very valuable armor. You can go and you can kill them, then you can go to the auction house and you can sell their armor for several thousand gold per piece. So just killing one person can be worth, I don't know, a 20 or 30,000 gold to someone, which is a good bit. And then there's one more zone, the black zone, and black zones are the exact same as red, except for no penalties for people who are PvPing, and everyone is automatically flagged. So there is no option to not be involved in PvP when you're in the black zone, and the big groups of people, the 7+ groups, are not even, they don't appear on your map. So basically when you go into black zone, it's no holds barred and you're probably getting killed. So with that explained, let's go into the social system. Why you need a guild to play this game to its full potential. So as you could have guessed, the red and black zones, as I was saying, they're very, very dangerous for solo players to go into, to, let's say, kill mobs or to gather materials. So in order to do that, you need to do one of two things to do it safely. You either need to go with a large group of people, or you need to be in a zone that your guild controls. So if you're in a large group of people, it's very hard to find that unless you're in a guild. Now if you're in a guild, you can just hop on your guild's respective voice chat system and you can say, hey, who wants to go gather some resources, who wants to go farm in these high level areas? And 4 or 5 people will group up with you, and you'll go do that, and you'll go on your merry way, and you'll do it pretty safely, because not many people want to take on 5 players. It poses a real threat to them. But that's not the only thing. So throughout the world, in yellow, red, and black zones, there are these things that are territories which are actually held by guilds. And guilds can take over a lot of territories in the same zone, the same little diamond of space, and within that diamond they can send out patrols, and eventually they can pretty much secure the zone and make sure people know, if I enter this zone, this guild's gonna kill me. At this point you can pretty much farm in their little diamond of space without worrying about getting killed. So once you're in a guild, you're kind of guaranteed this safety that you're not able to get as a solo player. In addition to that, there are a few different things. One of them being, just like, this game is more fun to play with people, as in, who doesn't like talking to people rather than just sitting there in silence playing the game? If you're talking to people, you can have strategy that you're talking about. You can have all the politics of guild versus guild, like disputes, and it's just generally a good time. And then in addition, I was talking about guild territories. Guilds actually challenge other guilds for territories. So like, let's say I'm in the guild Narwhals personally. Let's say we want to take over a territory from, let's say, Vendetta, another guild. We can go to one of their territories and we can dispute it, and then we can have a guild versus guild battle, and over time, if we win enough of these battles, we can take over their territory. And all these politics, all these wars are just very entertaining and just a ton of fun for everyone involved. One last thing to note about this is the premium system. So I said it was free to play, and like almost all free to play games, there is a premium membership that you can afford to buy, either with in-game silver or with out-of-game money, just like EVE Online. So with this, you can actually buy premium status just by being good at the game. At the moment, in closed beta, it's pretty cheap actually to buy premium, so there are not going to be many people paying for it. But once the full game comes out, the price of premium is going to go way higher. So you're probably going to have to pay for this game if you want to be premium. And quite frankly, due to a lot of systems I don't really have time to go into right now, you really kind of need premium, at least for the first few months when you're playing this game, or else the grind is going to be way longer. And as someone who's played this game, it's very grindy already as a premium player. So quite frankly, I wouldn't waste your time on this game if you're not willing to put in the money, at least for a couple months while you get leveled up, and then you can drop your subscription once you feel like you've gotten to a place that you're happy with. But yes, definitely premium would be the way to go with this game. Free to play is going to be a bit of a pain. So that's pretty much it. That's the basic overview of this game. If you want more info, I'm going to put up some more videos on specific mechanisms like guild versus guild fights, and about different PvP and all of that, about different skill progressions. And if you want to know about that, that's all in the description down below and actually on the screen right now if I've made those videos yet. But yes, fantastic game. Definitely not for everyone though, but for me, and I'd imagine for a lot of you guys, my viewers. So, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, it really helps out. Give me a comment, tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, it's all good feedback. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.